Good morning, everybody. Orange J here with another Etheria restart video, and today we're going to be talking quality of life changes and just things we'd like to see changed about this game as we roll in to the end of the open beta. Now, with the beta test, the idea is we're going to improve the game kind of one final time before launch, and the devs have been pretty good about adjusting things so far, but there's this really good write-up on the official subreddit right here. Quality of life changes. It's a nice long list, and I'm just going to go through them, add my 2 cents to these things, and talk about how it can affect you when the game goes live. So, first of all, quality of life changes. UI. There should be a button to go directly to the inventory from the home screen. Couldn't agree more. Guys, it took me a minute. I'm not going to lie. You can go to your inventory right here, but you have to do the hamburger menu, or you have to either hit tab. The hamburger menu doesn't do it. You have to go to the tab menu, inventory, and from here it's a really handy way to manage your inventory. In particular, like shells, which you're going to have a ton of, modules you're going to have a ton of to be like recycling and stuff. There really does need to be just a button on the home screen to get there, otherwise people won't know it's there. Yeah, good point. Okay, the ability to filter out for locked modules and shells, that would be really nice. And then this is one of the biggest ones. I'm going to spend just a minute here. A manage gear function. Now, I didn't play Epic 7, so I don't know exactly what their functionality or thing like that was. But let's go to my animuses for a second. I'm going to go to my Messiah. Here's what my Messiah is wearing right now. I got a keen eye set on him, and then kind of really nothing else. And since I'm playing in a PvP tournament this weekend, I've used up my energy for the day, and I had to like go through all my characters, moving gear. I spent over an hour moving gear from one character to another, moving shells from one character to another to try to get ready to do some PvP. And if I had done that before I was done using my energy to like farm today, I would have to undo it to start farming again. What I really want to see, what I think they really need, is a system where like you go into modules and then like down at the bottom of the screen there's a PvP button and a PvE button, and you can have a set of gear for like all PvP modes and a set of gear for all PvE modes, because it messes you up. You put a defense into like the Ethernet arena and you like, oh, but I'm gonna farm something that's I need fire characters, and so you take your gear off the characters that are in your defense, and then your defense just starts getting run over. It doesn't really work. Like, there needs to be a system in place that differentiates between PvE and PvP gear, especially with how heavily this game leans into the PvP, while you still need to be gearing correctly to clear the PvE content. Okay. Continuing down, on the Animus details page, the stats should be shown, such as total added, not base added. Okay, this was kind of funny. I don't mind this one myself. So looking at this Messiah again, you can see he has 10,724 base HP, plus 9,274 additional AP. It doesn't actually show you the total. You just kind of know that that's about 20k, right? And you just have to kind of add it up. This is fine to me. What I don't want, if they do show a total, what I don't want them to do is get rid of seeing the base and seeing the bonus. I actually prefer separating those two because I like to see what my gear is doing, what my shell is doing, and what my base stats are. I wouldn't mind maybe like expanding this a little bit, make it a little wider and add a total. I'd be for that, but I don't want them. I prefer it this way, as opposed to just having a number. Like if it just said 20k HP, yeah, I'd rather see this breakdown, but I do get where they're coming from there. Okay, let's move on. Setting preferences should save. Absolutely agree. Or at least make it an option to have menus save where you were. Being able to always click a debuff buff in a skill description. Yeah, you can pretty much do that now, but if anywhere you can't, they should add that. Option to hide equipped modules and shells in the inventory. This one would actually mess me up because I would end up forgetting about stuff I have equipped on other people. Ability to filter equipment slot while recycling. Yep, anything you can do with an inventory management, especially in this game, and they'll kind of mention this later, you have a huge inventory. Like if we go to shells, I think I actually recycled a bunch of them earlier, but like you got a bunch of these dang things floating around in here. And I think I literally recycled like 300 or 400 earlier today. Yeah, any functionality to the inventory system that they can add to make it easier, I'd be for that. Collect all button for achievements. That's minor. There needs to be a slider. This is a big one. There needs to be a slider for selecting EXP books. Clicking one at a time or being forced to use them all is tedious. So if you don't know what they're talking about right here, so let's go to a character I don't have leveled up. Let's say Valerian here. Okay, I click upgrade, and there's an add all button, so I could add 3 of these gold books to take her to level 35, or I can click them off or on one at a time. Now, for going from 29 to 35 on a 3-star, that's not a big deal. But if you're talking about adding, like sometimes you have like 900 blue books, 800 purple books, and a whole bunch of yellow ones. If you want to like not max out your character's level because you still want them to be gaining EXP during a fight, and you have to click a blue book 150 times, definitely a slider should be added right there. That would be a nice quality of life feature to add to the game. Okay, combat. Now this will be an interesting one. Needing to press the battle to start a fight is unnecessary. Instead, give a 3-second cooldown. I don't mind this one as much. Yeah, I see what they're saying. I don't care about this one either way, but if you don't like having to click battle, okay, then maybe you want them to get rid of that. Enemy effect resistance should be available somewhere for PvE. Yeah, I'd really like to be able to see that too. I want to know the people that are resisting my my dots or my pushbacks. I would like to see what their resist is. I think it would help for building and just add clarity to the game. Okay, miscellaneous ones. An obvious bug report button. True. I don't know why games do this. Like, so many games hide where you have to go to submit a bug. Just put it in the menu. The strategy page for threshold and other modes should include. Oh, okay. All right. So here what they're saying is this. When you go to a fight, right? Like, and I think a lot of people don't even know you can do this. But say you go to challenge, shell drop, and you're like, okay, Fabian, you're having a hard time with Phoebe here. So you're like, man, how did they clear this? You can click this strategy book, and you can see Mufi here used these 4 characters. But it doesn't say if Mufi was using like auto battle, manual, did it in 22 seconds. So if they were manualing, they were pushing those buttons fast. But sure, a little more info here would be nice. You can click, overall, this is a fantastic feature because you can click on this and be like, okay, so they have their Leon at like 143 speed with like that much attack and, you know, so much crit damage. How about Dina? Oh, she was really fast, so she could start with that break, and Chiaki's even faster. You know, so this is a useful page still, but if you're wondering if they manual or auto, yeah, sure, add more to that. I wouldn't hate that. That'd be a useful thing. Okay, let's see. This might be decisive. I believe they meant to say divisive right there, but whatever. Allowing guest accounts or instant account deletion. We'll see. This is going to be huge for people that are rerolling. Now, they're not going to do this in the beta because it just, like, the whole point of this beta was like a paid beta, so you need to tie it to something. But if there was like a guest account that you could reroll on and then link it to your main account, some gachas do that. That would be really, really cool. The Animus reconfigure event should be permanent, 1,000,000%. Yes, I would love for that. Perhaps some kind of dupe shop. This already exists. Maybe this person just doesn't know. But where you can spend currency generated by obtaining copies of SSR characters you've already max duped to get characters you don't have. So there is a dupe shop. You get currency, and I can't remember. Like, let's go look at the shop. There's the exchange shop, anima shop. So right here, you can buy with anima crystal points dupes of characters. Now, I don't think you can. These don't count as like the first copy, but I have 1,000 of them right now from something. It's not enough to buy an SSR dupe. For SR dupes, you could come in here and I could get a couple of these right now. And in fact, maybe I should do that for the PvP tournament. But none of these look like, I don't know if any of those would change the game for me. Anyway, this shop right here exists. And then there is the summon shop. Like, you do get these for pulling, and you get more of them for pulling characters that you've already like duped out. So I could come in here and pick up like, you know, a Leon dupe for 4,000 of these. That's going to be one way to max out your Leon. But there's other things in here. You can see I bought the stuff that I valued, and now I just have some more. So that kind of already exists in the game. Still, not a bad idea. Okay. Pain points. So here we go. This is where the person says the game is painful the most. Upgrading modules cost too many coins. Make the early upgrades cheaper. Skill upgrades cost too many imprints. I could see that changing. Like, that's something that I could see them adjusting. He didn't mention shells. Like, I don't think it mentioned shells at all in here. The person who wrote this hasn't been farming red mythic like shells, because it costs like 2 million shell experience to level 1 to max. And you have to be consuming dupes to do that too. So it is like, it's painful to level that stuff up. I like that it is not something that's almost free to do. It does need to be like, you need to slow down progression some way in these kind of games to prevent people who are like whales from just having everything max in this unlimited roster of power. But maybe it is a little bit too expensive right now. So I guess I would agree that it could be cheaper to level stuff in terms of currency. So, okay, fine. Yeah, good point. Right side drop rate should be closer to 50-50 with left side. Yes, more right side drops would be good. It hasn't been a huge problem for me, but there's some stats that I want as a main stat on the right side gear that I just don't have much of. Okay, and then right now getting a right side, this is what he's going to talk about. Right now getting a right side piece with set and primary stat you want is a frustrating endeavor. Yep, and this just is gacha problems 101. I'm not saying that to make light of the situation, but like what all games do is, like, when you're building characters, the hardest part of building is getting this kind of gear with this first stat that you want. And then when you do so, like, this is a really good piece of gear right here. Crit rate main stat with speed, crit damage, and attack, and it rolled into like 2 out of the 3 I'd want to roll into. That's phenomenal. But if you get like a crit rate piece to drop and the substats are like flat defense, flat HP, flat, you're like, oh gosh, and then it rolls into like defense, you just want to die. So I do understand, like, more of those drops would be nice. Okay, next thing, I think they're just elaborating on that. Yeah, okay. Mythic red rarity module should always be 3 matrix. Outstanding should always be 2. So what they're saying here is this, like, they don't like the fact that if let me come to some like unleveled stuff. So like, here we go. This is a mythic level, right? And it has 3 matrix effects on it. This is a mythic level that has 2 matrix effects on it. What if this one had the main stat that I wanted and this one had a garbage one? That would suck because I'd have to give up one to go get this one. I wouldn't mind seeing all mythics have 3. It seems kind of cheap to have some mythics have 2. In fact, most of the mythic drops that I have 2. But I think that fixes itself as you get into later stages. So it's kind of like a reward for farming later. I farmed quite a bit of mythics, and you can see a lot of these do have 3, but like, look at this one, garbage, garbage, garbage. And then like the ones with 2 both have crit rate, and like one of them have speed. So, okay, yeah, I get what they're saying. I don't know. You're going to farm a lot of gear. It hasn't been that big of a deal to me, but that would be a nice little quality of life. Okay, game balance. This one I totally agree with. GP Outpost just needs balance. Like, some of the hardest freaking fights in the mid game are GP Outpost, something you're supposed to be farming. The shield break mechanic that they have, like, so if you didn't know, if you hit characters with the opposite element in GP Outpost, they have that like blue bar. You break that blue bar, it stuns them, and then you can like finish them off. It's hard to break that because you either end up killing them first, or you're punished so heavily for trying to bring an alternate element team that maybe you haven't leveled that they just beat you up. And especially like the gold, the light room is just tough. It's tough. So, okay. Yeah, I'd agree with that. The AI is very smart. Yeah, the AI is super good at killing your weakest person, man. Like, how many times have you guys seen it where you got like 4 dudes out there? Maybe your Messiah just AoE'd, so he's like invincible, and the AI's like, well, forget him. Like, you have Leon over here who's at 50% HP, and like all of them just go Leon, 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 she's dead. And you're like, man, your guys' AI better than my AI. So yeah, the AI does seem pretty good sometimes, but it hasn't been that big of a problem. Okay, the EXP sink is massive. It does cost a bajillion EXP to level somebody up. So I wouldn't mind seeing that lowered a little bit, especially if, Investigation 25 is the highest ranked stage we can farm. If they don't change that, the double EXP farming days, like what we had the other day, will be a must do if you want to level up a bunch of characters. And I think something a lot of people don't know is when you have things like, okay, let's look at a percent HP item. There you go, HP bonus plus 43%. So that 43% is off of this base stat. The way you raise that base stat is increasing the level of your characters. So you are rewarded greatly for leveling up characters, ascending them to the next star level, and leveling them again. takes a lot of EXP books, man. It takes a whole lot of EXP books to do that. So I wouldn't mind seeing the EXP tuned down a little bit. They talk about GP outpost stage being too hard. I agree with that. Now, this one I disagree with. Terramaton is very hard. He said this might just be a skill issue. I think this might be more of like a account or team building issue, because for me, Terramaton has been the easier of the 2 or 3. I say the 2 because most people are just really farming Doki Doki or Terramaton. Like Doki Doki, I'm farming on like Hell 2 with 1 star. Terramaton, I'm farming at Hell 3 with 3 stars. He's been easier to me. Like, I don't know, you just kill the one right arm and then kill the body. That's not been too hard. This one with Doki Doki, it is so reliant on you not only being able to like crowd control those mobs, but you have to like save crowd control for when the second wave spawns. And if you get unlucky, especially auto farming Doki Doki takes almost too much tuning / luck with the AI. I wouldn't mind seeing that one, you know, toned down a little bit, but overall I wouldn't want them to tone down much, because they do need to like have hard stuff. Having hard things is good. So okay, upgrading character stars is difficult. I want them to keep that difficult. That sort of makes you specialize your account a little bit. It is punishing if you mess that up. But if we go to like one of these original things where they said basically keep the ability to like re-roll characters in the game, whatever that event was called, then this becomes kind of irrelevant. Like if you waste some of your leveling material, but you could just go unlevel the character, great. Okay, defense scalars and defense's damage mitigation seems to be weak. All right, now I'm going to say this. I don't know if this is actually true yet. I know right now, like the meta in the first week of the game is going to be go faster than the other people, give some kind of debuff or buff to your team, and then like throw them back with Marvel or boost your team with Chiaki or somebody else, and then just go like big AoE, they're dead. That's definitely not going to be, or that in the past has not been the meta into like the later game. Once you, and you've probably witnessed this, if you have a team that's meant to like burn somebody down, if you fail to do that and the enemy team survives and they start like popping heals, putting up shields, and they have sustain, now they're going to wear you down. If your opening combo, if your whole team's an opening combo and all 4 people on their team survive it and start healing, you lose. So eventually what's happened in previous betas is like bruiser teams, tanks, healers become more of the meta. We'll have to see what the end game looks like on live based on like some of the changes that they've made or will make. Okay, next, lattices are way too rare. Maybe the SSR ones are a little bit too rare. The SR ones feel like they're in a good spot. I don't know. I think there needs to be rare stuff in the game. Making lattices rare. I like accounts being a little bit more focused. The person then says having to build Leon for the hyperlink charter is kind of annoying. Disagree. I think it's great. I think it gives focus to people and it makes them not feel bad for using materials on her, and she's like necessary. So they argue that like because you're doing it, you're like not going to build other like red element, like fire element DPS characters. Like which ones? Like who else? Who are you not? Like I'm building Dina anyway. She's more of a debuffer than a DPS. I guess Fangus, but you're only going to build him for like a dot team. Not a DPS, not a DPS, not a DPS. Like what DPS are you not building that's red? There's not one. I mean, maybe there's like is there one that I haven't pulled that's an SSR? Am I just blanking on that right now? To me, this seems like a non-issue. I like the Leon being a thing. Okay, let's look at red. Veronica, Hellkid's more of a supporty character anyway. Beyontin, okay. Like Chloros, okay, maybe that's what they're saying, but still, I like that you are focused into building Leon. And by the way, you know, this person thought that Terramaton was too hard. Maybe they like just skipped on building Leon because she crushes this fight. Like she beats that fight down. So, okay, anyway. Some debuffs are a little ambiguous in what they do. Okay. Sure. Yeah, anything that's more descriptive would be nice. Why does betting on the underdog champion cost gems? I love this. So if you guys don't know what he's talking about, there is a betting feature in this game. Like if you go to events, or wait, where is it? I don't even know how to get there. Like I just usually click the pop-ups. Nope. Yeah, I don't remember how to get there. Where is it? I'm playing in this. Boop. boop. How the heck do you get? Of course, I'm blanking on how to get there right now. Anyway, every day there's this like tournament that happens in the background. You can bet on it with gems. Hey, that's cool. That's cool. I like to do a little gambling with my gems. The prizes are very worth it if you win. So, I don't know. That one doesn't bother me. Just don't bet. If you don't want to bet on stuff, don't. I feel like it's also worth noting things that the game does well. So this will be a great section as well. So glaze the game. Let's see what positive stuff we got here. Event cess slide content is fun. Agreed. Like the side content they've added has just been easy to understand, fun to do, rewards you for building lots of characters. And it's like, I don't know. It's been enjoyable. So, okay, fine. No E7, 15% debuff resist BS. Yeah, I heard that FX7 does that. I think it's stupid. Massive inventory space is a huge W. Continuous battle right from launch of this game is going to be super nice, and it wasn't. I guess that wasn't in like the very first beta. And you can customize how your AI handles like boss fights, like who you want them to target. Super good. Any kind of AI tuning is awesome. Shells as a concept and everything surrounding them is well done. So basically the weapon system in this game. Yes, agreed. Love that system. Dupes, yep, we all love the dupe system in this game. SR and rare characters being useful, 100% agree. Pull income is great, yep, it is. And I want to add, like, I blew all of my Hydra crystals today because I got that PvP tournament tomorrow that I have to like play in, so I maxed out everything I could. Guys, I could have stopped pulling a long time ago and my account would have been fine. Like, I think you're going to hit a point very early where you have plenty of things to build, plenty of things to do, and you can start saving for whatever the next new unit is, which is kind of how a PvP based gacha with like a meta should be. They're going to have to release a lot of characters to keep people interested, to keep the metas fresh. So, saving pulls is going to be nice, even if you only have 20 or 30 shots, right? There's no 50-50 in this game. So if you're building up pity on that featured banner, every time you're just getting closer and closer to getting yourself that new best thing. So I hope the pull income stays good, and I hope people are willing to shell out a little bit of cash if they need to. Okay, energy freshes being limited is actually awesome. Agreed. It keeps free to play and low spenders in the game. Hard pity, soft pity, yep, great. Story surprisingly solid. Agreed. If you didn't experience the story in the beta, take your time with it and enjoy it at launch. Character design, the characters look cool. Yep, boom. 3x speed is awesome. Free unequip. I don't know what that is, but okay. And then thanks for reading. So yeah, there it is. Those are the some of the quality of life features they were talking about there. One I would add, like something that happens to me all the time. I have a hell of a time seeing the mouse. Like here, watch this, watch this. Where's my mouse? Where is it? Can you see it? Can you see it? It's right. Oh wait, it hides it. What the heck? OBS like hides my mouse. That's crazy. Anyway, like I lose track of my mouse all of the time and I have to like run it to the edge of the screen. So I have a hard time tracking it. Maybe make it a color that's not the same color as like the background in the game. That would be cool. Otherwise, I'd agree with a whole bunch of those points. The one I was going to suggest that they said straight up was like GP Outpost, man, is brutal. Like farming these stages, my characters lose. And I'm like, man, I'm like in game. I'm like pushing, I don't know. So anyhow, those are the thoughts there. That's what that person had to say. Let me know if you have anything in the comment section that you would like to add. And overall, have a great weekend, everybody. I'll catch you next time. Peace.